What should you be doing if you only have 5 minutes to draw per day? Now, I have heard quite a few things around this, and some of them I agree with, some I don't. I've heard people saying that you should be drawing boxes, you should be doing specific exercises to take your drawing to the next level, and some persons know the exact ones you should be doing. Now, in this video, I will tell you from a hobbyist standpoint, trying to learn to draw, what I would recommend you do if you only have 5 to 10 minutes of time to draw per day to improve your drawing or to practice drawing. And then I want to jump into the sketchbook and talk about what I have been doing lately and some decisions that I've been making, etc. All right, so let's jump into this. First of all, I want to affirm that learning to draw is not easy. It's something that really takes a lot of time, and sometimes it can be frustrating, and it's not always easy to find time to make the progress you want. Let me just say up front, you are not alone if this is a struggle that you are feeling. Sometimes I think as content creators, we make things seem and appear simpler than they are. We make it seem like we're always enjoying art and that everything's going happy go lucky and we're always having fun. I mean, fun, fun, fun. Let me just say that's a part of the persona. That's a part of what's put forward. That's what part of what people want to watch. And so that's kind of what is presented. But you're not alone in your struggle. The fight for time is real. It is normal. So, having said that, what should you do if you think you really only have 5 to 10 minutes? First, number one, I would recommend and challenge you to question yourself. Do you really only have 5 to 10 minutes to practice drawing per day? I mean, some days maybe, but consistently you only have 5 to 10 minutes. I challenge you because I don't think many people realize just how short 5 minutes is. There's really not much you can accomplish within 5 minutes. I mean, you are probably going to spend more than 5 minutes watching this video, provided you watch it all the way to the end. 5 minutes is not a lot of time. And if you are saying that you cannot commit 5 minutes of your day to practicing drawing, that may not be accurate. So I want you, but the first step is to really challenge yourself because I think that you may actually have more time than you think you do. Okay? Not every day, but some days, if not most days. Okay? So the first thing is to challenge yourself on that point. Number two, what I would want you to do is if you've thought about point number one and you go, no, seriously, my life is just so busy that I really, really, really only have 5 to 10 minutes on a good day to practice drawing. What should you do? Okay. If this is actually true, I would ask you to reconsider whether drawing or art is the hobby for you. And I'm being very serious here. Uh, Drawing is a hobby and art that takes time to improve. And if you are saying you have really looked at it and you really only have 5 to 10 minutes, I think your 5 to 10 minutes could be spent doing something that would bring you more fulfillment, something that you don't necessarily need to improve on. There are a lot of things that give instant gratification. Those may be the things for you. So, just something to consider. Step number two is if you really only have 5 to 10 minutes a day, I want you to consider maybe drawing or learning art may not be the thing for you right now at this point in your life. Maybe it be something that you come back to later, but I really want you to think about this. It just may not be for you right now. Okay. So let's say you considered everything and now you go, nope, I really only have 5 minutes and I really think that I want to do something related to art and drawing. What would you recommend? Here it is. Here's what I'm going to recommend if those things are true. I would say don't worry about improvement. Go all in on fun. Go all in on fun. Draw whatever you like. Draw whatever you find fun. If it's stickman, if it's animated stickman. I remember growing up, we used to do these animated stickmen on the side of our notebooks at school, and then we would flip through them on the side and basically create this little crazy show. Like whatever you find to do and whatever you can do in that 5 minutes, just do it. Just go all in on fun. Don't worry about improvement. That would be my number one recommendation for you. Now, there are some of you that are going to say, oh, but the only thing that I really find fun is drawing really good images. Then, if that's you saying that you can only have fun and you can only enjoy art if you're drawing really good images, I'm going to tell you then I can't help you. I literally cannot help you, because what you're saying is that, to put it another way, what you're saying is that I really want to run marathons like the professionals. I mean, this is the only way I can be happy running. If I am running marathons like the professionals. However, I only have 5 to 10 minutes a day to practice. Okay, you're clearly being unreasonable. And I will even go a step further, because there are some videos that that seem to give the impression that they have a course that will help you accomplish this very unrealistic goal. And I'm just going to be straight up with you. Any course that's saying, hey, 5 to 10 minutes a day, we're going to get you to your dream of producing amazing images, and all you have to do is spend 5 to 10 minutes a day, I think you're likely going to be disappointed. And that's the best way I'm going to put it. If they're telling you you only need to commit 5 to 10 minutes a day and they are going to change your art life, I think you're going to be disappointed. Either that, or you will enjoy their course so much that you will be committing more than 5 to 10 minutes on given days in a week. And that is how you will start seeing progress. So again, lean into fun. It may be that when you lean into fun, you find that it's so enjoyable that you actually practice way more than the 5 to 10 minutes. And then you begin to see more progress. But I think this is the only way to go, to follow the fun and let the fun lead you to spending more time. And the more time you spend begins getting you the results in terms of getting better. But I think if you start with the 5 to 10 minutes and you go, progress is my goal, I think you're going to end up disappointed, regardless of where you go with that. Now, there are some of you that may be closer to what I experience, where some of the things that people need to practice, you actually find this enjoyable. And this is a advantageous situation to find yourself in. And I think I am close to this. I find myself in a situation close to this, where some of the things that people practice are things that I actually find fun to draw as well. And so if you are in this bracket and you're drawing things for fun, 5 to 10 minutes, yeah, you will see slow progress over a very long period of time. But again, it's because you're focused on the things that are fun to you. But I'm getting ahead of myself. Let me jump into my sketchbook and let's talk about some of the things that I have been doing recently and some decisions I've made. I may undo them, but let's jump into the sketchbook. All right, so now we're jumping into the sketchbook. And as I said before, one of the things that I really love to do is I love to practice. And this may be out of fault to me, but I'm slowly creeping towards the final goal, which is basically being able to set up and draw scenes from imagination in somewhat lifelike or believable characters, sometimes playful, kind of in that Kim Jong-gi style. We'll see how far we get down the road. But one of the things, of course, that I pointed out in terms of having a limited amount of time is to follow joy, what you enjoy doing. And also, another important thing for me is to make it as simple as possible. If you have a limited amount of time, the last thing you want to do is spending that time just thinking about what you want to practice instead of actually practicing, right? So you want to make it as simple as possible. And of course, that is one of the reasons why I use a pencil and a sketchbook. Very simple, very plain. I understand. Um, but we will get more complicated as we learn things. And we're going to talk a little bit about that as we go forward. But this has also led into some decisions that I have made lately. So, one of my goals is to get into things that looks something more like this setup that has more detail in clothing, face dynamics, all that type of thing. Basically, also wanting to get more expressive, more lifelike. This is what I do a lot of. If you know my work, I've gotten to the point now where I can draw a lot of simplified mannequins, but I have been making some changes to this more recently. So you'll see that as well. Um, and that is, of course, you'll see practices where I'm doing a lot of kind of real life things. But in terms of the mannequins that I'm trying to draw now, I'm trying to put them in more fuller scenes with a lot more going on. That is something I need to practice. It's one thing to draw one mannequin, but it's another thing when you have to draw a mannequin behind another one, interacting in a certain way with desks and chairs and all this type of stuff. It starts getting a little bit more complicated, and then trying to get everything into one scene. So, a lot of the mannequin work you're going to see me do in the future has to do with a more complex scene, putting a lot more in there and trying to determine how that works out. Some of them are more successful than others, but it does take time and practice, and I am aware of that. Also, in trying to work out some different perspectives from looking from above, below, sideways, all this type of stuff. Those are things that you are going to see increase more and more. It's basically trying to complicate the scene a little bit more as I go along. I probably won't be doing too many full scenes just as yet with individual persons that are in kind of this style. My kind of takeaway is that I'm going step by step, right? So I worked a lot on the mannequin by itself, and then I'm putting it into simple scenes, more complex scenes, and I'll do a similar thing also with the more lifelike um, persons that I draw and things like that, and also additionally get more and more complex objects into those scenes as well. I think one of the things I really need to work on as well is setting up a room structure around that scene so that I can actually place them into a room and not just have them kind of in this open expanse as well. So that's some things just a brain dump there of things that I'm thinking about. One of the decisions I have made is from time to time you have seen me doing ink, and while I do love ink, and it's not much different than what I do here with the pencil because I tend to draw quite straight with the pencil as well as if it was ink. I really love ink, and I wish I could do more of this, but this is a part of this question of keeping it simple is some frustrations that I've been having with ink. And if you all have solutions to this, um, let me know. There are several things that have been frustrating me with ink. One of them is showing up on this very page, and that is if I try to use a ballpoint pen, the little blobs of ink that form on the edge of the pen and then they smudge out and you get these kind of smudgy marks. It just drives me nuts. If you notice, my sketchbooks tend to be pretty clean and straightforward, even if it is not well done. Even if I'm making mistakes, I tend to have it pretty clear cut. I just like that look, and I don't know. that is one of the things that's really been kind of not doing it for me with ink. Another thing is I've had situations where the ink doesn't always write when you go to write with it, and you have to like have a scratch paper on the side of you in addition to scratch the pen on to get it writing again and all. It's been a little frustrating to say the least. So that's those are some of the issues I've been having with the ballpoint pen. Again, here you see some studies where I'm working through going from the mannequin to the more simplified clothed figure. Be doing quite a bit of that, setting up more complex scenes as well, something that I've talked about quite a bit. A lot of practicing. So again, I tend to enjoy practicing a lot. And if you notice Kim Jong-il's sketchbooks, eventually once these type of things become complex and complicated enough with real clothing, expressions, all this type of things, and more interactions that are less stiff and lifelike, uh, these will eventually become the final goal in itself, right? Just like one of Kim Jong Il's main final works is actually his sketchbook. I mean, yes, also the huge layouts that he does, but basically, even on those huge layouts, he's basically just doing sketchbooking, right? At least that's how I see it, and that's where I see my final goal going as well in terms of my end result. Just continuing to make things more and more complicated and more complex, but always keeping it in the vein where I'm drawing whatever is just coming to my mind, right? So that's kind of the idea here. So yeah, I talked a little bit about me enjoying the process of just doing practice stuff. Things like drawing these boxes and learning fold and stuff like that. I find this enjoyable. There are sometimes I just sit down and I maybe pull up some reference images, sometimes not. And I I just love doing this. Seeing how I can get boxes one side open. Are they staying flat? Are they turning like I want to? And when they do turn like I want to and sit flat on an imaginary ground, like that's just satisfying for me. All right. So I'm one of those persons who have found drawing boxes and planes somewhat enjoyable, probably more enjoyable than some other persons. If you've watched one of my previous videos, you've seen this drawing that I did, which was adapted from Rembrandt Montal. Um, so really cool thing there. Another thing I've done is I've changed the lead in my pencil. So things like this that you see here, where there is some smudging going on, and definitely down here, I have changed to a 2H lead in my pencil. And I have noticed, especially since this point here going forward, that I have seen a lot less smudging um, with my pencil. So that's something that I've given two thumbs up on, switching from the regular HB to the 2H, which is a harder lead and makes it harder for smudging as well. So here we have just more studies practicing laying out persons in different positions other than the straight standing poses that I am pretty good at now for the mannequin. So trying to do some of that. Some of these are studies, some of these are from imagination. It's getting more and more difficult to tell which is which. So sometimes you may be looking at the work I'm doing and going, wow, he's just doing a whole bunch of studies. But actually, some of those are from imagination, and maybe some of the things that you think are studies are imagination. Some of the things that look like they are imagination may actually be studies that I'm trying to figure out things. So all of these hopefully begin to build into um, my mental library, drawing some of these more complex objects as well within the scene. Here, more studies and more imagination work. The same here, doing some studies from Kim Jong-il here. I really like how these mannequins turned out. Look at those feet. I'm really liking how uh, being able to draw feet, even from reference, is coming along for me. Some of these were from reference, some from imagination. This type of thing here is really cool to me, having this detail in. This was all from imagination, of course. Redid it here in with the mannequins, but basically just continuing to work the progress, right? The process, right? Um, and what I have really enjoyed is using a pencil because I can do two things at once. I can get these darker lines on the outside, but also get these lighter lines to indicate that the form is changing on the inside of the shape as well. Something that I can achieve with ballpoint pen, but again, I've just been frustrated with ballpoint pen. I think down here it wasn't drawing when I expected it to draw, and I had to be. And I was saying, "Oh, I need a better pen." And I purchased a new pen, and it still did not work for me. Again, you see some of this type of practice, which I really enjoy as well. So these are some of the things I do for fun studies. Again, like I pointed out, doing things from different angles than I normally would. And here is a decision that I kind of made. It's not permanent, but I have decided, you know what, for now, I'm just going to let the pen idea go. Um, because it adds a complexity or additional layer that's frustrating to me in my practice. Again, when I have a short amount of time, the pencil just gives me everything I want. The only thing that frustrated me about the pencil was the level of smudging that I was encountering. And again, switching to the 2H lead has kind of helped uh, cut back on that immensely. As you can see, none of these images are smudged. So for right now, I'm going to be sticking with the pencil and just going with it because it's been just too frustrating trying to get the exact pen work that I want. It's not a final decision. Um, we'll be going back to that at some point. But for right now, I think just going to go for pencil for a bit. And I don't think I'm going to do any great harm in that decision. So these are things I'm going to be doing a lot more. You're going to be seeing a lot more of this from me. These more complex scenes with a lot going on. In a lot of these, you're still going to see a lot of mistakes. I know a lot of people think that once you understand what is supposed to happen, that you will not make a mistake. But there's just something about having to actually practice it, and it takes time. So there are things that are going to be wrong in these images. Um, but hopefully I will get better over time. These are actually some studies from Kim Jung-gi and seeing how he actually lays out some of his perspective and some of his realistic drawings, which are kind of cool. One of the other things that I jumped into was grabbing one of my kids' graphic novels and copying some of the styles out of there. Really cool things. I think this idea of simplification that goes on in graphic novels is really cool and something that I really need. One of the things I really struggle with is simplification and drawing too many lines and not enough straight lines in my drawings as well. So I think this is something that's really going to help me like practice it enough to make sure that I am putting more straight lines that it has a cool look to it. It has a cool look to it. What can I say? I drew this one from reference. I did this one based on this reference. So kind of came up with an additional character here and did an additional one here as well based on what I learned from that reference there. So again, some of these things you may be thinking are reference, but they may just be based on a reference or maybe entirely from imagination. It's getting a little bit hard to tell, and I don't always call it out clearly in every image, but I did give credit to the initial artist here that drew the graphic novel. So here you can see, of course, more of these more complex scenes that are coming out. Again, there are issues with some of the scenes, some of how things are laid out, but you're going to see more and more of this. And my hope is over time, slowly turning these into more lifelike characters and getting more and more complex and storytelling and things like that um, as we go along. So here again, laying out a more complex scene, just playing around a little bit, right? So I had some time where I hadn't drawn it a bit and had a little bit of time to jump in and just kind of did some craziness. Because again, fun is the headliner for me. So that's what you're going to be seeing coming up for me. Uh, Doing a lot more complex scenes like this. Maybe in some talkover videos, drawing out more complex scenes. There will be errors, as I say, and then through the um, sketchbook walkthroughs, you'll see a slow creep toward more complex characters. They may be cartoony in nature, or they may have more complexity in nature as well, but definitely also want to do more complex mannequin work. This is from Pose Maniacs. The characters on Pose Maniacs are not actual mannequins. Um, I have mannequinized the poses that they have. They are not real poses either, so it's complicated. But if you go to Pose Maniacs, you'll see what I'm talking about. And of course, going to be working on expressions. The head itself is something that I'll constantly need to work on. A lot to be looking forward to in the days and years ahead, but I really like the progress that I have been making and enjoying my practice. Let me know what you think. Do you have ideas of what other people should be doing if they only have 5 to 10 minutes? Do you agree with my assessment? Do you have other things that people should be doing? Let me know in the comments and we'll continue this discussion there. Love to have you along with the journey, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.